abusuya for mincha na mesanso emo akwaba abusuya efa wo emra channel so ha e da so aye be media je chabusuya be sro wase enani de connect channel so ani you no buo kwan so e be sro wase be subscribe e de amai bobo notification bell no so for podcast update na abusuya ene the ensem na etwagu efa eye Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia kind ofori ata and the likes abusuya enya sem ketwa including eye the minority leader Honorable Alexander Afenyo marking abusuya ni na ejina eye ECG scandal be say akoso over millions of dollars scandal be akoso sisi amene we say eyade a eye guarantor na chese ogina mu ema chese omutumi elutu eye ECG enye sikakuma no abusuya chese aban ensa asonu mu a enya asempto we dey ma meka say wapese ekọ kokotie ensem abusuya omode egu form ne Solomon Owusu ene eye ne panels anase ne nkofo abusuya majo mu akonwa chese omode ni na ede agu form a enya asempto ha eda so aye be media je chabusuya mesre wase ene ne de connect channel so a ye be se waso be subscribe like na abusuya abo aso a share ma for person be etie no anya bi etie abusuya mu etie nkoma a ekoso emra sese a ye da
when Bawumia put Ken Oforiata's partner in charge of ECG, that Kelly Gajekpo, and they did that PDS thing, and the hairdresser of the president and others took it over. When Bawumia did the bank transfer, bank guarantee into an insurance guarantee to allow for the corruption to happen, the fraud to be perpetrated, we should see Bawumia being prosecuted. I mean, is he above the law? It's Ken above the law. It's Kelly above the law. It's the Baba above the law and all that. I mean, until we see that, ECG privatization is a no-no. Bawumia has therefore caused the Millennium Challenge Compact to be lost on Ghana. That was a lot of good money.
190 million.
Yes. Financial loss to the state by that singular action of allowing corruption to thrive. He should not be seen as a flag bearer and therefore let off the hook. He should be prosecuted.
But ECG, ECG, still on ECG. You know, on Christmas Day when I left after the show, when I go home, I didn't have lights.
After I danced.
Yes.
Oh, I danced for him.
There was no light. The light came back around 8 p.m. in the evening.
No.
Yes. So I am not happy.
But you were not home.
No, I was home from the after the program. I had to get home, and I rushed home only to find out that
That's too bad.
You know, so the entire of the title of the Christmas Day, and it was deep. I'm told it went as deep into Adenta and beyond.
Wow. You know, that must have been maybe a great issue. I mean, sometimes
distribution.
Yeah,
you are being asked to pay more, and even no courtesy. You know, just somebody to tell you, oh, there's a problem. We're trying to work on it, and
that is one thing. EC must be sensitive to you know the needs of customers. I can only hope that it's not going to be another environmental, you know, and maybe this even reminds me, we should not forget of our Quishi. I will come back to ECG. The city authorities must look at whatever is happening around Quishi area. The natural environment is being disturbed. The mangrove is, I mean, there's so much development going on in that area. You just ask yourself, who is authorizing these structures? And that's how we sit down, we allow things to get bad, and then the solution become even bigger than, you know.
Like
so
yes,
well, yeah. You know, there's so much development going on in the Quishi area. You ask us.
There's a territorial issue. You know, there's this administrative boundaries between Lekma and Ladma.
Okay.
No. That land is land. That's the traditional land owners. That one is not in doubt. But the administrative boundaries, the assemblies. You know, Lekma and Ladma meet at that point.
At the bridge,
Yes, and so there's a gray area of who is responsible for where.
They are not finding their feet. They can't run the local government ministry. There has to be a solution to that.
You know, so I think that the two must be made to work together to deal with that. Because
that's fine. That's okay. So I tell you, so it's just as we are complaining of ECG. I think that also ties in with how we address our environmental issues too.
Okay.
But there's a benefit to allowing the natural outlook to remain in order that so we can, you know, just as people living in that area. Else we are going to disturb
the sea will come into the sea can come easily in because the mangroves prevent the sea coming and it purifies the water that goes into the sea. The sea rejects, but anyway.
Yeah. So ECG, please pay attention to the needs of customers. Where there are challenges, I think that you need to inform customers. Now, this issue of not being able to buy credit, I'm wondering, are we using just one system? Is it the case that we have put all our eggs in one bag? Are there not backup systems such that if a particular line of purchase is faulty, there should be an alternative route?
Or even this one affected the third-party vendors. Going to buy from a vendor. When you walk in with the card, normally it comes with you can buy through your phone.
Yes.
And you can also use the card through a vendor. And when you get to the vendor,
that is not good enough. And just coming to just release an announcement and you're not giving a way out, you are not solving the problem. So if somebody runs out of credit in the house now,
you are stuck.
My goodness. Yeah, that is not good enough. I think they should wake up. And like PD said, ECG is also bedealt with so many problems. We can only hope that we know the fortunes are beginning to change, but we need to do more. In terms of privatization, personally, I don't also support full privatization. If there's a way by which government can partner in foreign investments and look at critical areas where government can hold substantial say, at least in the interest of the customers, and then leverage it with private investment in terms of capital injection and so on and so forth, we can also look at that. But definitely, as it is being run now, the losses that are being talked about are so huge that it beats imagination, and all this as a result of human actions. People are put in there to work. So why are we getting this kind of results? So if you are the head of such institution, definitely you need to wake up. And I believe sometimes it also goes down to some of the officers on the ground. They do certain things that may be unknown to to the office. There should be a way to do better monitoring and so on and so forth. So at the end of it all, I think that ECG must put the needs of customers, paramount. It's one of our biggest assets, so we cannot play with it. Whatever is needed in order to let it run fully in our interest, I think the management and leadership must wake up to that call.
Yeah, so would you isolate it?
Well, I would say, and I'll be blunt, anyone who disrespects Ghanaians, whether it's under administration A, B, or C, must not be tolerated. Ghanaians must not accept any shortchanging. Doesn't matter whether NDC and it's an NDC government or whether MPP and it's an MPP government. Wrong is wrong. Ghanaians must benefit from the resources. In fact, the ECG matter for me is even more annoying hearing IMF telling us what to do with ECG. I'm sure you've heard what the IMF has said about the ECG, right? There's a lot of money that has accrued over the past few years that we have been under the IMF. I don't know what to even call it, but has gone. The chunk of it has gone to electricity. You're aware. Much of the money that has come through from our being under an IMF program has gone into the electricity sector, and IMF is trying to tell us to sell ECG.
Privatizing.
Yeah, so we are going back to the PDS days. For me, I feel very insulted, not because IMF has said it, not because PDS is still standing there and I don't see people behind bars, but we haven't obviously learned lessons. Yes, I mean, we've seen Tor doing well, and because of how you pose your question, it means that the black man, the black African Ghanaian in Nkrumah's words, is capable of managing his own affairs. We don't need a white man, or we don't need other people to do that. The problem is that when something is called state, the attitude of Ghanaians who are capable of managing their private entities changes, and that should not be countenanced. And I agree with Solo 100%. If somebody comes under the need of management to handle state resource and runs it down, the person should not just be dismissed. The person should be prosecuted because it amounts to financial loss to the state. When these things happen and happen in real time, that is when people wake up to the responsibility that you cannot take on the state, neither can you disregard the people. So I think that I am opposed to the ECG privatization. I mean, in the first instance, I think the state should first make an effort to put it on a solid footing, and then can invite after, not before. I mean, why sell your car or your house in a certain state where it will be bought for scrap, when indeed you can bring it to a level that would give you good value? And I think that ECG, like we all know, is the distributor, right, of electricity. It's not the generator of electricity. So there's no issue as far as ECG is concerned with generation nor transmission, which is GridCo and VRA's, job to do, and the independent power producers. Okay. Now, we are always told of line losses, technical challenges, and all sorts of nonsense. Yet, the sad part, in fact, the saddest part is that it is supposed to be mostly prepaid. We have moved away from the postpaid, where ECG has to do the work and then come get the money. Of indeed, are we paying the true value for the electricity that we enjoy? Okay, so the PURC has told us, that's the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, has told us that because of galamsey and other things, water must be increased. Ghanaians are angry, but then we can all see that galamsey is giving us a problem, and we cannot do without water. But I think maybe desalination should be an option for that one. Now, because long term, it will take us a long while to even have, like, the Rhine River in Germany, proper water out of this galamsey situation. So that one. So let's be pragmatic. The same with the electricity. We have been told that it must be jacked up, and they've given us all sorts of reasons, and none gels for me, apart from the fact that we must pay real prices. If you are not able to stop those who are stealing the power, then we are rather subsidizing the thieves. And one thing I like that ECG has done under the new management is that they are given 6% for whistleblowing. So if you catch someone who is stealing electricity and you are able to, as it were, report the person, you get 6%. And of course, the identity will not be disclosed. So that is good. But I think the percentage is low. The incentive is in the fact that Ghana people talk. So you go and report somebody, even though your identity is not disclosed, somehow or the other, when the money gets paid, people will know you've got somebody. And before long, whispers will go around and somebody will know. And that's when you can slap you. So increase the amount. After all, what do you lose? If you are getting, for 6%, you are getting people reporting only at the rate of a fraction of what reports will come. Because it's about efficiency. It's not about making money. Really, this is another essence. If you make a disincentive for people to go and steal the electricity, it means they won't steal. So you don't even have to pay anybody going forward. Because if, let's say, for example, 30% or 50-50, people will be rushing to report their neighbors. Sometimes even children may even report their parents, And sooner than later, nobody will steal the power. And then all the power will become available and on stream. That is how you get this in. So the small percentage, I think they should jack it up and then stop rather taxing us, through the back door to pay for the criminals who are doing that. Now, having said that, I think that I would want to quickly move away from the ECG to the Gold Board and indicate that, yes, it is true that the Gold Board has done a lot for Ghana in the short time that they have been in existence.
I'll come back and we'll take that round.
Okay.
Let's do the ECG round first.
Oh, then I should have ended well on ECG. Well, I believe so. I strongly believe so because of the person who is at the helm of affairs in the country today, that's the president, and the vision that is backing this decision and which actions have flowed from, and today we're having this discussion on. I know that in the past when he was president, even when he was vice president and President Atta Mills was president. These were plans that were, in motion. I recall at the time when the GMPC was headed by Mr. Atuahoy, there were efforts to, as it were, clean the balance sheets of these institutions and ensure that we have, a very well-structured organization going forward. If you recall, there was even an infrastructure fund and others that were, put in place. Then there was the Wadako, where he was put in charge of 2 entities, not just TOR. You get it? And so there has been efforts in that direction. So he's coming back this time around with that wealth of knowledge from the past and the experiences in the near past of how not to do things, which occurred under President Akufo-Addo, and we saw the NPA boss, Mustafa Hamid and others, and what they did, Pobensal and all that, what they did with that institution.
What did they do?
Oh, today they are in court. They have been arrested and they are going to be prosecuted or are being prosecuted. The mismanagement, the thievery, the scandals, we've seen that. That is not what to do.
Are you alleging?
I'm not alleging. The Attorney General has put forward facts. Facts that include various sums of monies that were, as it were, separated from these organizations, and then deals.
That's why I'm trying to interrupt, because the matter is in court. So
I'm not discussing the matter that is in court. I'm not discussing the court process. I'm telling you what the Attorney General has said. Unless you are telling your viewers that you doubt the Attorney General, in which case you have to also, assist us to understand clearly the basis for your doubting the venerable Attorney General who has.
I can have my doubts over him.
No, but you doubt Yoko. You doubt the CID. You doubt all the state investigative agencies that have done thorough jobs, that have produced evidence that have been given to the Attorney General, for which reason he didn't just hide in the closet and say. He came and addressed the good people of Ghana and produced evidence with amounts, specifics, and so on. I mean, unless we want to indict the system or we want to shut down, the oral and all the investigations underway, the mother serpent of corruption can stay in America. Is that what we're saying today? If not, then let us agree that there's been corruption, there have been allegations. In fact, I wouldn't even call them allegations, that evidence produced, and the courts will do their job. So that should also serve as a deterrent to whoever is put in charge of state agencies under President Mahama. Right. All right. And I think that the high ground that President Mahama has taken, including indicating that the first person who brings corruption to his government will suffer a very bitter, consequence, should serve as a deterrent. And I believe that if we're able to cut out these kinds of acts, then these bodies can indeed be on their solid footing. I recall, the moving Pina. You remember that guy? He's in Parliament. Is he still in Parliament? Batting guy, the one who used to do books for the. He's not, but he used to be. Yes, he used to be in Parliament. You see, people do corrupt acts and we hide in Parliament for immunity. We have a few more still in Parliament. I expect that in the coming year, just like the President has said, the Speaker has said similarly, that he is not going to shield anybody. He's going to spew out Galamsey MPs, corrupt MPs, and so on. They should live by it, and that will be the reason why TOR will work. It is not just, we know what needs to be done. Look, every day we need fuel, right? Until e-vehicles become the norm, we will need fuel. If we don't get to a point where there's parity, or at least an escalation in the number of e-vehicles, and we have enough, points where you can power your vehicle conveniently, because it's not good enough to have the things scattered, because you can't predetermine how people are going to move. People will move anywhere, and just like you're running out of fuel, you need a nearest filling station. Every filling station should have an e-vehicle charging point, just like now they are doing for the motorcycles. And I can assure you that John Jinapo is doing exactly that with his ministry.
Okay, Abusia, we ne ensema ekoso e political highway so aye Dr. Bawumia ne prosecutional process just say ECG scandal be a course okoye bank guarantee be allow top NPP gurus in mom dilute ska ehonsem ena ye de bremo ye bada masesa mo che pene kokoti sa ensem we ede emai aha Ghana Politics Avenue so. And don't forget to click on the notification bell so that any updates be ever dropping also once able to me aka madam master.